Hey 68, happy Wednesday. Hope you're thriving through this week. You're halfway through, so keep on the way, keep on the walk, keep doing what you're doing. Unless you're doing wrong things, unless you're not spending time with God, then start spending time with God. Or if you're not doing what you should be doing, start doing that today. It'd be a good day to start if you haven't started yet. So if you're plowing on, if you're watching the videos, if you're applying it to your life, keep it on. If you haven't yet, start. Just some simple advice. Matthew chapter 6, verse 25. Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after these things. And your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. I just can't get that last phrase out. It sounds like Yoda. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. It's just weirdly transliterated that way. Translated. Anyway, how does this passage apply to my church family? How does it apply to how I approach my community? First, I think one thing is, the probably obvious one for me, at least you probably have an idea where I'm going, is when we're worried about and anxious about my own life and everything about me, then we have a tendency to make everything about me. So when you're in relationships and community, you tend to make everything in that relationship about your worry and your problem, your stress and your drama and all that. And so if you don't feel like you have any close relationships, maybe you need to think about, how you are engaged with people. If you feel like, I just don't have community, maybe the reason you don't have community is because every time you're around someone, you complain and you whine and you worry and you're anxious about things that are going on in your life. And so no one wants to be around you because you're a negative Nancy or a negative Nelson. And so, you don't want to be around that person because they're just negative all the time. Why would I spend my time around them when they're always critical and negative and worried and anxious? It's just too stressful for me. So maybe the reason you don't have community is because that's who you are, and you need to work on that. You need to change that. Kind of being blunt today. It's just the mood I'm in. I'm sorry. But so there's that. But then the other way is when we have legitimate concerns, when we have legitimate worries, legitimate things in our lives that are stressing us out, that are causing us to be anxious. If we're not in biblical community, if we're not in community with one another, no one is there to help shoulder that burden. There's no one there to help carry that burden with us. And so we find ourselves straining under the stress of this one burden all by ourselves, and our shoulders are sore and being weighed down with the pain. We need someone else to come alongside us in biblical community to help carry that weight so that it's a little lighter of a load for us to carry. There's a quick illustration here. When back in the day when they had mule team competitions, they had a mule team competition. Mules would pull weight and see how much weight they could pull. And so I think the load was like 3,000 pounds or 4,000 pounds or something that one mule carried, the winning mule. So they took the winning mule and the second place mule, they teamed them up to see how much weight they could pull together. And the guess would be that they pulled like 9,000 pounds together, right? 4,000, 4,500, whatever. Together they pulled something like 12,000 pounds. They didn't just pull the addition of the two weights together. They pulled way more than that. When you're working in community, when you're with someone, when someone else is shouldering the weight with you, you can do a lot more than you can do by yourself. By yourself, you may be only able to pull 4,000 pounds, but if you team up with someone, you will be contributing 6,000 pounds worth of effort in the scenario. So think about your community that way. Think about living alongside. Sometimes you need to come alongside someone and you need to help shoulder their burden because they're carrying 4,000 4,000 pounds, and together you can carry 12,000. Or sometimes you need to trust people with what's going on in your life and let them help shoulder the burden for you and come alongside and help carry that burden. I think that's kind of the way that we can approach this in community. In community, we have to be trusting one another so that we can help carry one another's burdens. That's what biblical community looks like. So have a great Wednesday. Look for ways you can apply that to your life. If you maybe you're too negative, you need to change that. Maybe you need to start building relationships because you can help carry a burden. If everything's going well in your life, go pick up someone else's burden, help them carry it for a while. If everything is going poorly, then you can't help. No one will help you if you're not in community. You can be all by yourself. Apply it. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for another tip.